move to the next point. We should ensure that whatever we see is clear.
That means work is being done. We can see that it is in opposite direction. It is against.
Good day, learners and my viewers at home. You are now welcome to another segment of e-learning organized by Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Once again, you are welcome to Agric Science. As usual, I still remain Thomas Peter. And we have an interesting topic today, because the topic we are going to discuss today will involve animals. Hence, the topic, animal improvement. Under this topic, let us see what we shall cover. 1, we shall see the definition of animal improvement. 2, aims of animal improvement. And the third one is methods of animal improvement. But before we go into the topic proper, I want us to note that in this country, our Nigeria, we rear local breeds of animals. And they are not giving the farmer the desirable, what he wants. So we need to improve those local breeds that we are rearing in the country. How do we improve them? In the course of this lesson, we shall see it. Let's go to the definition. Animal improvement refers to the ways or methods of developing and breeding the farm animals that only show the greatest merit that the farmer considers desirable and profitable. Examples of this merit which the farmer considers profitable are fast growth rate, resistance to disease and pests, good feed conversion, and prolification. And what do we mean by prolification? Ability of a female animal to give birth to more than 2 young ones or many young ones at a time. Aims of animal improvement. In view of the definition above, it can be seen that the farmer has some merits in mind before he embarks into animal improvement. What are those aims? 1, to produce animals that can give large quality products in form of meat, egg, milk, feathers, hairs, hide, and skin, to mention but a few. 2, to produce animals that can give high quality products like yolk size and shell hardness in birds. And 3, to produce animals with high feed conversion efficiency. That is, animals that can change even waste to meat or egg within a short period of time. Then 4, to produce animals with fast and high growth rate. In other words, to produce an animal that matures early. 5, to produce animals which can adapt to climatic or environmental conditions. And 6, to produce animals that are resistant to pests and diseases. Methods or processes of animal improvement. Animal improvement methods or processes are said to be 4. Namely, we have introduction, selection, breeding, and artificial insemination. Let us take these methods one after the other. Introduction. This is the bringing into the farm or a country high quality breeds of farm animals or livestock with good desirable characters from another farm or a country. But before a farmer can adopt introduction as a method, he must ensure that the breed of an animal he is introducing, otherwise known as exotic breeds, possess higher quality or desirable characters than the local breeds. Why? This is because A, the local breeds are usually small in size, slow in maturing, poor producers, but can adapt to local environments and can be resistant to disease. Where is it number 2? B, the exotic breeds are big in size, early maturing, good producers, but may not adapt to local environments and may not be resistant to disease. So, to strike a balance, the exotic breeds or the imported ones are used to mate the local breed to obtain crossbreeds, which will now combine all the good qualities or desirable characters of the exotic breed and the local breed. Advantages of introduction. 1, it enhances greater productivity. 2, breeds which are not originally present in the country or farm are introduced. 3, it leads to absence of pests and disease in the farm. It may introduce new pests and diseases if not properly handled as one of the disadvantages. 2, the new breed may have problem of adoption into the new environment. The next method of animal improvement is selection. This is the process of picking animals from a mixed population with breeding values as their parents. The selected animals with the desirable characters or breeding values should be capable of transmitting their genetic attributes to their offsprings. Types of selection. We have 2 main types of selection, namely natural selection and artificial selection. Natural selection. This is the type of selection in which the animal has the ability to withstand weather stress to survive and reproduce, while those that cannot survive die off. What do we mean here? Before you select an animal, you must make sure this animal was able to survive all the environmental extremes. In other words, the principles of survival of the fittest is applicable here. Only animals that survive the environmental stresses are selected. Then artificial selection. This is the type of selection where man uses his intelligence and influences to select animals with desirable characters and mate them in order to increase the number of animals. There are 4 types of selection, namely, we have mass selection, progeny selection, family selection, and pedigree selection. Let us explain these types of selection one after the other. In mass selection, the farmers select the animals from a very large population of animals. Animals with the desirable characters are selected from a large number of animals to be bred. Then we have progeny selection. In progeny selection, the farmer considers the performance of the young ones or the offspring of the animal. In other words, the parents of the animals are chosen or selected because of the performance of their young ones or their offsprings. When we have the family selection, in family selection, the farmers select the animals to be bred based on the relationship. That is, animals that are closely related in a family. Then we have pedigree selection. Then the pedigree selection, here the farmer consider the history of the ancestors or the parents of the animal you are selecting. In other words, the farmer here is selecting the offspring because of the performance, history or performance of their ancestors. Advantages of selection. 1, it ensures that only the best naturally available animal is selected. 2, selection reduces the spread of pests and diseases. 3, animals with undesirable traits or characters are detected and rejected. However, selection have its own disadvantages. Disadvantages of selection. 1, selection is tedious and time-consuming, so you need to be patient. 2, it requires expertise, which may not be readily available. Now, the next method of animal improvement is breeding. Breeding. This is the process by which animals are developed by transferring inherited qualities from parents to offsprings. Types of breeding. There are 4 types of breeding, namely 1, inbreeding. 2, line breeding. 3, cross breeding. And 4, outbreeding. Let us see these types of breeding one after the other. Inbreeding is the mating of more closely related animals in a population from which they come from. Example, mating of the father and daughter, or son to mother, or rather brother to sister. Line breeding. This is the mating of related animals which are not closely related, as it is the case in inbreeding. Example, mating between cousins. That's mating between cousins. Crossbreeding. This is the breeding of animals from different breeds with desirable characters, which will lead to production of hybrid with hybrid vigor, otherwise known as heterosis. Example, the crossing between Muturu breed of cattle, which is resistant to trypanosomiasis, and white Fulani breeds, which is susceptible to the disease, to produce a hybrid which combines the good qualities of the 2 breeds. I want us to note this heterosis. That is the ability of a hybrid to perform better than the 2 parents. Outbreeding is the mating of unrelated animals within the same breeds. Outbreeding is just the opposite of inbreeding. It produces hybrid vigor and productivity, just like crossbreeding. Then, advantages of breeding. It gives rise to hybrid vigor or heterosis, as I explained earlier. 2, offspring produced can withstand environmental stress, especially in crossbreeding. 3, it helps to concentrate and preserve specific desirable characters in animals, especially in inbreeding. Then we have the disadvantages of breeding. It may result in inbreeding depression, thereby reducing vigor or heterosis. 2, it can lead to reduction in the production of milk, egg, meat, slow growth rate, and loss of fertility, especially in inbreeding. The last method of animal improvement is artificial insemination. This is the introduction of semen, otherwise known as spermatozoas, into the female reproductive tract artificially other than the natural mating. Here, the semen containing spermatozoas are carefully handled, diluted, and stored in a deep freezer at a temperature of minus 196 degrees centigrade in a liquid nitrogen until it is required for use. For artificial insemination to succeed, the spermatozoas should be inseminated into the female reproductive tract when she is on heat. Why? This is because immediately after the heat period, ova or the eggs from the ovary will be ovulated or produced to the fallopian tube to go and wait for spermatozoas for possible fertilization or pregnancy. Method of collecting semen from a bull for artificial insemination. That is, how do you collect spermatozoa from a male animal for artificial insemination? 1, by using artificial vagina. How do you use artificial vagina? You use the artificial vagina, massage the male reproductive organ, and deceive the male animal. And the environment of the artificial vagina is made the same with that of natural vagina. So the male animal will think it is a natural vagina. It will release the spermatozoas. And then you just collect it and store it in the sperm tank. 2, by massaging. Restrain the animal and massage the reproductive tract. The reproductive tract becomes erected and release the spermatozoas, possibly into the artificial vagina, and you take it for storage. By electron ejaculation. This time around, you use an electricity to stimulate, to massage the animal. So the animal will release the spermatozoas and you take it for storage. By recovering of semen from the vagina after service or mating. Allow the animals to have natural mating. But immediately after they finish mating, spermatozoas will be deposited at the vulva, the ones that are outside. Swap it out and keep it in your storage organ. Then you take it to the sperm tank for future use. Then lastly, by using a dummy. This is a robot that they produce, and it looks like the female animal. You deceive the male animal, thinking that the animal will be thinking that this is a male, which I'm supposed to mate with. After you massage it, it will start having mating with the dummy. In the dummy, there is a location where you collect the spermatozoas and you take it for storage. Advantages of artificial insemination. 1, it is easier and cheaper to import the semen of an exotic breed than the male animal themselves. Because you can get the spermatozoas in a syringe, which you can put in your pocket and transfer and transport it. But what about if you go to America, you want to bring a bull that you want that have a desirable trait? How much will it cost you to transport that bull? 2, it helps in checking the spread of venereal diseases in animals, as the semen is properly scrutinized before use. The semen of a good bull can still be used long after the death of that bull. And 4, it reduces the cost of production, since the farmer may keep only female animals and save the money for maintaining and feeding of male animals. However, artificial insemination have some disadvantages. 1, it requires expertise which may not be readily available. Before you are involved in artificial insemination, you must be properly trained. If you are not trained, you may injure the animal and make it sterile. It may not be able to give birth again, or you may introduce other diseases into the animal. 2, not all farmers have the skills of detecting heat periods, which may lead to waste of spermatozoas. As I said earlier, you have to inseminate when the animal is on heat, because immediately after the heat period, ova or eggs will be produced for possible fertilization or pregnancy. Preservation of semen or spermatozoas need power supply, which is always erratic. Animals are deprived the natural feeling in mating. If the semen or spermatozoas are not properly screened, it may spread venereal diseases in farm animals. For example, brucellosis or contagious abortion, which is a disease that is mostly transferred during sexual intercourse. My dear students, this is what we have learned today, but briefly, let us see what we learned. We started with the introduction. We started with definition of animal improvement, going to the extent of identifying the types of, the method of animal improvement, in which I mentioned introduction, selection, breeding, and artificial insemination. We also discussed the aims of animal improvement, in which we say we crossbreed an animal, possibly, not possibly, but in most cases, so that it will be able to convert feed quickly to byproducts. Another aim of animal improvement, to enable the animal withstand environmental stresses. Also, the animal should be able to produce high-quality products. With this, my students, you have learned a lesson. With the lesson you have learned today, at your own level, you can start improving your local breed of farm animals. But this marks the end of the lesson. But before we go, I want to leave you with an assignment. 1, define animal improvement and state 5 of its aims. I take it again. Define animal improvement and state 5 of its aims. 2, discuss selection as a method of improvement. Discuss selection as a method of animal improvement. 3, define the following terms. 1, introduction. 2, inbreeding. 3, crossbreeding. 4, heterosis or hybrid vigor. I take it again. Define the following terms. 1, introduction. 2, inbreeding. 3, crossbreeding. And 4, heterosis or hybrid vigor. Question number 4A. Define artificial insemination and list 5 methods of collecting the semen for artificial insemination. I take it again. 4A. Define artificial insemination and list 5 methods of collecting the semen for artificial insemination. Then 4B. List 3 advantages and disadvantages each of artificial insemination. 4B, list 3 advantages and disadvantages each of artificial insemination. My dear students, I believe you may have learned very well in our today's lesson. However, for further research, you can get this information from these references. 1. Essential Agricultural Science for Senior Secondary Schools by Nwena. Essential Agricultural Science for Senior Secondary Schools by Nwena. 2. Prescribed Agricultural Science for Senior Secondary Schools by S.A. Omoroi. Prescribed Agricultural Science for Senior Secondary Schools by S.A. Omoroi. Thank you, my students. For further inquiry, for submission of your assignment, you can WhatsApp, text, or call the following numbers. I still remain Thomas Peter with the contact number 080-5121-6365. I take it again, Thomas Peter with the contact number 080-5121-6365. Or my colleague, Rashida Umar, with the contact number 080-3451-3576. Rashida Umar, 080-3451-3576. Stay home, stay safe, keep learning. COVID-19 is real.